Okay, hang in there with me, guys. I got 2 people with me. I'm just gonna wait to make sure that I got some more people involved. Okay, like I said, I've never done a live through YouTube before, so this is the first time for me, and want to make sure I have an understanding of all the different options and things. You are welcome. I'm glad you guys are able to join over here. And Curtis, hey. Hi, Lori and Lacey. Rachel, and holy cow. Okay, we're getting more than I can keep up with. So, Amanda Smith, is that Amanda from Utah? Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. Amanda, awesome. Okay, thank you. All right, guys, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a brief reiteration of the update I just gave you, just in case people were not able to hear me at all and they were just seeing other people's comments. I want you to be able to hear it from me directly. And then from there, we'll go into some question and answer. So if you have questions right now, I'm going to ask that you hold off on posting just to let me get through the updates so that I can make sure I'm not missing any of those key parts. And then we'll go into the Q&A part. I originally had 3 parts to the update, and so I want to make sure I go ahead and address that with you. The very first piece to the update was my recommendation. And my recommendation is that for Michigan Supreme Court Justice, there are 2 seats open. I initially knew about Bridget McCormack, who was up for re-election, but I did not realize that Justice MARKMAN was being forced out because he's now 70 and that's the age of retirement. So there are 2 open seats on the Michigan Supreme Court. And there are 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans, 2 Libertarians, and a partridge in a pear tree judge from the Green Party who are all nominated and on the ballot. So there are 7 to choose from for those 2 spots. It is my personal recommendation that you would probably want to vote for, and who I will be voting for, is Carrie Lee Morgan and Brock Schwartzel. One is actually Libertarian Party candidate, and one is the Republican Party candidate. From what I have seen myself, Carrie Lee Morgan is actually the closest to a Constitution-abiding candidate that there is. And Brock Schwartzel is next in line, if you will. He definitely has had some decisions and some wording of things that I would have concern about, but he is a lot closer to the main understanding of what the purpose of our government is and what it's not, and understanding the basics and foundations of our rights and freedoms. And so I would definitely go with those 2 individuals, Carrie Lee Morgan and Brock Schwartzel. And I guess I need to remember to send a message to my Aunt Betty, who probably is not watching me on Facebook or on YouTube these days. And she asked me about that about a week or so ago. And hopefully I'll remember to text her when I get off this video. So I was working on that today when I also remembered that we have an exciting show that we are going to be recording. Tomorrow, we're going to be recording the first 4 episodes of a show that's basically a conservative and truth-based version of something like The View. And so I will be driving to the other state of Michigan to do that tomorrow. And one of the topics of conversation is regarding Ruth Bader Ginsburg, her passing. And honey, could you put this on mute, please? Ruth Bader Ginsburg's passing and whether Trump should have the opportunity or the right to be able to nominate and appoint a Supreme Court justice. So with that in mind, I wanted to make sure that you guys are also aware about some constitutional, we're on Constitution and Supreme Court justices, so I figured I'd throw this in there even though it's not Michigan. Article 2, Section 2 of our United States Constitution literally says that the president shall nominate, that means must, shall nominate, and by and with the advice and consent of the Senate, shall or must appoint ambassadors, other public ministers and consuls, judges of the Supreme Court, and a few other positions as well. In fact, it says, the president shall have the power to fill up all vacancies that may happen during the recess of the Senate by granting commissions which shall expire at the end of their next session. So when a justice passes away or whatever, leaves office, and there's a vacancy, if the Senate is in recess, the president shall fill that vacancy, at least on a temporary basis, until the Senate can come back into session and do the advice and consent portion of Senate confirmations. So the main point here, though, is that the president shall nominate, and with the advice and consent of the Senate, shall appoint judges of the Supreme Court, period. So the last I checked, regardless of whether you liked him or not, President Trump is still our president. He was president in September when she died. He's president now in October. He's still going to be president in November. And even if he loses election on November 3rd, he's still going to be president in December of 2020. So the fact that President Trump is still the president means that he shall or must nominate the next Supreme Court justice, and with the advice and consent, shall or must make that appointment. So if anyone wants to complain and moan and whine about it and say, well, he's just a Democrat and he's on his way out and Joe Biden's going to win, I don't give a crap if Joe Biden's going to win. That has nothing to do with anything. The Constitution is very clear, and the president is Trump, and he must appoint someone to fill the vacancy that was left by Ruth Bader Ginsburg's passing. All that can be done if you are someone who does not want the person he is nominating is you need to contact your senator. Don't go to the media. Don't go to the president and complain and go to his Twitter account and whatever all these other people are doing. If you don't like something about that particular person who is nominated, contact your senator and describe to them why you don't want this particular person nominated. It better have nothing to do with Trump. Nothing to do with Trump. It should be about the candidate, the nominee themselves, or in this case, herself. If you are a senator, then you need to figure out exactly what your issue with this candidate is or nominee. You need to figure out how you would like to raise these issues in a confirmation hearing, how you can engage in and participate in a truly full civil discourse, dialogue, a back and forth conversation about the issues, and have an open mind. And in the end, then as a senator, you get to vote. And if a majority of the senators decide that they are going to agree with President Trump that this individual should be Justice Ginsburg's replacement, then she will be. But there's a very clear role here that the president must do this. So I could care less if you don't like Trump, if you don't like all Republicans, whatever the issue is, if you're trying to stop Trump's replacement of Ginsburg, merely because any replacement he would bring forth you think would be inappropriate, then you need to go home. You need to read the Constitution, specifically Article 2, Section 2 of the United States Constitution, and stop at that. You need to not run your mouth anymore, because I don't care what your opinions are. The Constitution is the framework upon which our entire government is founded, and that's what we need to stick with. Okay, so now that I got that update, or piece of information out there, the third update, oh my gosh, did I say this out loud in this video? I've now said it a few times and I don't honestly know. Did I, Mike? Did I go over this in this video yet? Okay. So, because some of you on here may not have been able to see me on YouTube Live, or excuse me, on Facebook Live when I shared this, I know some of you are like so super excited that you want to make sure, you know, you're getting all your questions answered. But like I said, let me get the main updates out to make sure everybody's on the same page, because a lot of people were having technical difficulties and could not see or hear me, or they said that my voice was being repeated on a loop. And so I want to make sure everybody starts on the same page, has the same update. So it was released at 4:35 p.m. today that the governor did not have authority after April 30th, 2020 to issue or renew any executive orders related to COVID-19 under the EMA, the 1976 statute. All 7 Michigan Supreme Court justices unanimously held that the governor did not have the authority after April 30th to issue or renew any executive orders related to COVID-19 under the 1976 law. The court also held that the governor did not possess the authority to exercise any emergency powers under the EPGA or 1945 law, because the act unlawfully delegates legislative power to the executive branch in violation of the Michigan Constitution. So, in other words, the EPGA, the 1945 law, is unconstitutional in its entirety. Unconstitutional. So when it relates to the EMA, the court said that under the EMA, the governor only possessed the authority or obligation to declare a state of emergency or state of disaster once, and then had to terminate the declaration when the legislature did not authorize an extension. That's what I've been trying to share with our legislators and our courts for quite some time, that our governor had the power and the duty to declare, to proclaim that state of emergency, but that's it. As soon as the legislature chose not to extend that state of emergency, she had to end it. The governor possessed no authority to redeclare the same state of emergency or state of disaster and thereby avoid the legislature's limitation on her authority. So when she first declared it as a state of emergency and then called it a state of disaster, that did nothing to extend her time frame. The court is very clear here that the governor had zero authority to redeclare the same state of emergency or state of disaster to avoid the legislature's time limit on her authority. Now, the problem here is that we have 3 justices that said that the EPA only allows the governor to declare a state of emergency when public safety is imperiled, but public health emergencies such as the COVID-19 pandemic can be said to imperil public safety. I strongly disagree with that. You can find my brief on this particular issue that I filed with the court on September 16th, just roughly 2 weeks ago. You can find that on the khenry4mi.com website under resources and documents. And I explain in quite lengthy detail, but hopefully totally readable and understandable to the average Michigan resident and United States citizen, that That is not the case. In fact, Justice Viviano, in his partially concurring, partially dissenting opinion, states that the EPGA, which only allows the governor to declare a state of emergency when public safety is imperiled, does not allow for declarations of emergency to confront public health events like pandemics, because public health and public safety are not synonymous. So I would agree with that. I think it's exceedingly clear that public health, public safety, and public welfare are it's the trifecta. It's the three main pieces upon which, or concepts upon which, or under which the government has often acted to regulate the people: public health, public safety, and public welfare. In fact, my brief goes into detail about how one of those provisions appears nowhere in the U.S. Constitution. That would be health. One of them appears only once, and one of the terms appears only twice. Welfare appears twice, safety appears once, and health appears 0 times in our United States Constitution. Our state constitution, very similarly, has very minimal inclusion of those terms and does not allow for these statutes in the first place. So, at any rate, the Justice McCormack, up for re-election this year, Justice McCormack, Justice Bernstein, and Kavanaugh concurred in part and dissented in part. Basically, they said, yeah, the governor did not have the right under the EMA to issue these executive orders. However, she did have the authority under the EPGA because the EPGA has sufficient standards and does not violate the Constitution. Justice Bernstein goes into a little bit more detail on that point, and says that he examines a lot of case law from both the Michigan Supreme Court and the United States Supreme Court to say that the EPGA, the 1945, does not offend the separation of powers doctrine. But again, the language of the state constitution itself is very clear. 2 sentences. Article 3, Section 2, the powers of government are divided into 3 branches: legislative, executive, and judicial. No person exercising powers of one branch shall exercise powers properly belonging to another branch, except as expressly provided in this Constitution. The only time that express provision is in the Constitution is Article 5, Section 2, which allows our governor to issue executive orders to simply reorganize the executive branch. But even in so doing, she has to present those to the legislature, allow them 60 days to decide whether they want to disapprove of that reorganization. If they choose to disapprove of it, then she's out of luck. If they choose to take no action, or they basically are saying, nope, you're good to go, then she gets to have that reorganization of the executive branch. Nowhere in there does it allow her to create executive orders to regulate the people, period. So I don't care what kind of language they want to come up with or what case law they want to have. Nothing, no case law, no actual law, no statute, no executive order ever gets to trump the language of the Constitution, the state or federal Constitution. And our state Constitution is very clear and says you cannot delegate unless the Constitution says you can delegate that particular power. She has no power delegated under the Constitution here. So at any rate, I would agree with the justices that said it's unconstitutional as an unconstitutional delegation of authority. With that being said, I want to remind you that we do have Justice Justice McCormack, who is up for re-election, and Justice MARKMAN is being forced to retire because he's at age 70 now. So we have a Democrat and a Republican seat, as they currently stand, that are open at this point. And so it is those seats that I'm recommending. I have weird lighting now. I am recommending that you vote for Carrie Lee Morgan and Brock Schwartzel. Carrie Lee Morgan has actually authored many amicus briefs, the same as I have, on the case the legislature has against the governor, as well as this Midwest case that they just issued this decision on. He was one of the attorneys that has been writing and submitting various amicus briefs. So if you want to see where he stands on various issues, you can go ahead and read those. I believe the Michigan Supreme Court website has it right on their front page, the briefs from various parties involved with that. And Brock Schwartzel, if you go to his campaign page, which I want to say is maybe Brock for Justice, brockschwartzelforjustice.com, something like that. He actually has a link to several of his recent opinions sitting on the, I want to say it's the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals here in Michigan. So you can read some of his opinions there. When it comes to this opinion that came out today, let me make sure I'm wording things right. Yeah, so the opinion that came out today, what are the practical implications? Well, I did not read the entirety of the 107 pages that was submitted or published by the Michigan Supreme Court today. I will do that, but I have not had a chance to do that so far. The main points are, though, if the governor does not have the authority under a statute such as the EMA at all after April 30th, and the EPGA does, it's totally unconstitutional start to finish, then the executive orders, at least the ones that she's been issuing since April 30th, or let me put it this way, all of the COVID-19 orders in existence after April 30th. I can't, what? I'm doing a live. Okay. Something's really funny to my husband over there. All of the, Mike, can you help me on this video though?
Oh, yeah.
Thanks. The comments, there's a lot. I need your help. So at any rate, the, totally distracted by my husband.
You would find that hilarious.
I don't care. I'm trying to answer questions, dude.
Well, it's on point.
All right, guys, I'm sorry. I'm really distracted. I was actually trying to answer some legitimate questions and my husband's distracting me and he's laughing at some videos on Facebook. So the orders basically, no matter how you slice it, no matter whether you say like I do that they were never constitutional from day one, or the way the court has said it is they're at least to the extent they rely on the EPGA, they're not constitutional from day one. To the extent that they relied on the EMA, they have not been legal since May 1st. Then nothing in those executive orders is enforceable at all. Now, I would argue it was always unenforceable. And I would still say that because no matter what any court says to us, they the terms of the Constitution always rule. But what the court has said to us, what the court has said to the governor, what the court has said to the attorney general, quite frankly, to the Department of Education and the Department of Health, to everyone involved, that these executive orders are done. So how does that play out? Well, I would like to think that that means as of right now, you can go to a movie theater. If you own a movie theater, I'd like to think that you are running over there right now and you're starting your popcorn machine up. And then if you're close enough to me, let me know and I'm going to go have some popcorn tonight and watch a movie if I don't fall asleep because I'm exhausted. The executive orders that allow for different provisions of schools to do this limited online, limited physical presence, but mostly online learning stuff. Like one of our children who is in public school right now is a senior, was basically booted out of school today because the whole district's going to shut down their in-person education for at least 2 weeks because one bus driver tested positive for COVID-19. Yes, one bus driver essentially had something that is less deadly than the flu. So we're going to send the entire school district home. Now, those things, I don't know where things stand because I do know that our Republican-led legislature actually has been drafting bills like they're going out of style. And some of them have been passing all the way through and getting the governor's signature on them. So I do know that there are some bills out there that might cover this. And so, again, to the extent that they violate our constitutional rights, such as the Article 8, Section 1 and Section 2, that says, hey, education in Michigan is pretty darn important. The legislature has to make sure we have a system of public education in place. I would think that we should have to have the schools open at this point, no matter what kind of law is passed. But just keep in mind that those questions, I don't know, those could be complicated by that. But yeah, there's no mask executive order right now because the Michigan Supreme Court has pretty much evaporated whatever little remnant of an argument they had on that. I would love to go get rest, but my days of vacation will probably come in December once we've turned in our signatures. So let me see what kinds of questions we have. Mike, are you scrolling through here? My YouTube notifications didn't work. I'm not sure what to do about that. I guess I'll ask my husband.
Well, mine worked. I'm subscribed to this YouTube channel, so
It did work for you?
it did pop up on my phone.
Okay. I don't know what to say to you on that, Ruth. It looks like it worked for Lisa and it worked for my husband. So I guess we'll just keep experimenting.
There's a lot of questions about when things are going to get back to normal, basically. Masks in schools, masks in sports, masks at grocery stores.
Okay, sorry, 1 second. I was reading one of them. Ron, I see that you have a disabled child who keeps getting suspended for not wearing a mask. Please make sure that you are recording each and every one of those violations, that you have every single email, text message, letter, whatever came, in writing on that. I would love to get a copy of those because I will be going after this whole mask issue once and for all. So yeah, I haven't even begun to get started on fighting these unconstitutional things.
Along with that is 6 hours ago, there was a news report that 10 Michigan organizations were fined for not taking COVID-19 precautions. So I would think that they have a case.
Yep. Kerry is actually a guy. So his name is it? I think it's Kerry. Let me see. Dang, I text. Yes, it's Kerry. Kerry Morgan. Kerry Lee Morgan. And then Brock Schwartzel. I think, Maya, that you got his last name spelled correctly. No, I would not vote for Mary Kelly. There's a few good reasons I have for that. But I would definitely vote for Kerry Lee Morgan over Mary Kelly any day of the week. Mary Kelly, you stared at me like, is there something I need to know? Okay.
No.
Let me and this is just some of the reasons, okay? But let me give you some off the top of my head. Go to Mary Kelly's campaign page. Nowhere on there does she talk about what she really stands for. It's a lot of about me, and all this stuff that I'm really good at, and here's my family, and my husband's a judge, and my daughter's a lawyer, and my other daughter, I think, is in college, and I'm, really awesome, and I've been in the profession a very, very long time, and I have all these recommendations and endorsements from all these people. That's essentially it. I don't see anything on there that talks about her stance on a variety of super important constitutional issues. I don't see her taking a stance on anything related to any of the COVID-19 stuff at all. I don't see anything. She even talks about being a lawyer guardian ad litem. From her description of what she does, I don't believe she's even doing that to the fullest extent she should be, because she simply emphasizes that she makes sure to meet with each child before each hearing. That's not her only job. She is supposed to be doing her own independent investigation. That means she's supposed to be meeting with teachers and counselors and parents, foster parents and bio parents, seeing the child in their home environment and school environment, reading reports and talking to the DHS workers or private agency workers that are involved, but not just relying on their recommendations or statements. I have found, unfortunately, throughout my many years working on those kinds of cases, starting 14 years ago or more than 14 years ago, that for a variety of reasons, oftentimes things are not quite accurate as reported by the CPS or foster care workers. It's unfortunate, and not every single worker is like that. Not every single report is full of untrue information, but I have definitely encountered many situations where they are. And the underlying thing is that our statutes are truly unconstitutional when it comes to being able to have your children ripped away from you. She doesn't seem to comment on that at all. I mean, literally, not doesn't seem to, she does not comment on that aspect at all. She's like, I'm here for the victims. I'm here for well, you know what? The children are always the victim in those situations. But how about the situations where I, as a lawyer guardian ad litem, the representative and the fighter for the children, have gone in, seeing this report that says all these horrible things about a parent, and why I'm thinking of many cases, but let me just have one in particular that's in my mind. There was a single mom that had two boys. I believe they were 1 and 4 years old, and they were removed from the mother's care, and they had two different fathers. And so one child went with the paternal grandmother. The other child went with his father. And when I went to do my investigation, I'm looking at things, and I'm in the home, and I'm in the other homes that the boys were removed to, and I had far more concerns, grave, serious concerns, not only about the child's safety. Let me put it this way: one of the children, the 4-year-old, was removed to a home that I myself did not feel safe in. I literally called my husband and I said, if I don't answer the phone in I told you, give me an hour or half an hour or something like that. I don't know. Do you remember that? I was in the middle of nowhere. I don't really want to say the town right now, but I said to him, I literally fear for my safety here. And I'm so far removed from any public safety offices. I'm not even sure if there was a concern that they could get to me in time. It was bad. And that was where the child was placed purposefully by our government. So had I not gone out there myself, I wouldn't have seen it. Then the report went over how actually the child must have been maybe 5. I want to say, anyway, compulsory education did not even apply to that child because I believe he was in kindergarten that year. But at any rate, that was one of the big reasons, right? Is this child supposedly was being removed from school by the mother, Well, when I talked to the principal myself and the teacher myself and went to the school myself to view the attendance records, it was very clear the mom had not ever removed the child from school. It was the other parent that had done so. And then when there was an allegation that the mom had been not filling prescriptions for the child's medical needs, some, inhaler type medications and things like that, I spoke directly with the child's physician and with the pharmacist, and I got the records myself to show that, in fact, the mom had filled every single prescription and had gone to every single appointment, and it was the other parent who had not done so. So I'm just giving that as one example of a case where the child, two children ended up being, were removed from the mother in that case, removed from her care, separated now because they had two different fathers. They were separated and they were placed in different homes where one of them was placed into a home far more dangerous for that child. And the other person, the other child was placed into a home that was safe and fine and loving, but that non-custodial, it wasn't even a parent, it was a grandparent. That grandparent had no more right to that child than the child's mother. So I would just be very cautious because let me just give you another example. She advocates or proclaims that she is an advocate for victims, such as victims of sexual assault and victims of just general crimes. I saw nowhere on there where she claimed to really bring in the voice of the victims. What about restorative justice? Did she ever advocate for or utilize the true voice of the victim? Did she hammer on what would make the victim comfortable in a particular situation? Did she try to use in the non-sexual offenses? Did she try to use any kind of restorative justice elements? Sit down and do have the parties participate in a restorative justice facilitation where the victim actually gets a say and the criminal actually has to face them and work on something where they have to be responsible for something. Everybody has a piece to that puzzle, so to speak. In what way does simply prosecuting mean that you are giving a voice to the victim? The whole purpose of the criminal justice system here right now in the United States and also in Michigan in particular, it's not set up to give a voice to the victim. It's set up to penalize the offender. That's what it's set up to do. So I believe very strongly that it should be about making sure that the victim is made as whole as possible, and at the very least that they actually have a true voice. She doesn't talk about how she does any of that. It's all this. So again, those are just some of the pieces, okay? Some of the pieces that are involved here. I hope that gives you an indication of where my mind is at and why I don't think she would be a good fit. But based on the things I have been able to read directly from the other two candidates, I do believe that they would be the best shot we have. I was actually able to either speak personally with several of these candidates or see many of their recent court filings or briefs or court opinions that they've authored. And I really enjoyed being able to have some back and forth conversation and to question them. And I appreciate those that did. There's some that I was able to speak with directly that I did not end up recommending. But I do appreciate the time that they took with me, and it really did help me figure out to know which ones I think would be best. So yes. Mm-hmm.
I'd like to know how many people watching this and how many people in the state of Michigan, how many businesses out there are waiting for Governor Whitmer to say, oh, my bad, you can all go back to normal now, before the people resume their lives.
Oh, got you. Okay, so how do you want me to ask that though? I'm not going to be able to see everybody's response. Is there a way to do?
No, I want you to comment on that because the people in Michigan are
Okay.
waiting for somebody to say something.
Okay, so I think if I understand my husband correctly, what he is getting at right now, you probably weren't able to quite hear him, but what he's getting at is you don't have to wait for the legislature to say, haha, we won, or for the governor to get up and do a press conference and say, oops, my bad, all done. You don't have to wait for the businesses to take the signs out of their stores and go, yeah, I guess we're not doing this anymore. You don't have to wait for that. These executive orders, number one, were never constitutional at all. But number two, the Michigan Supreme Court today said that these executive orders, after April 30th, no matter how you slice it, they're not valid. So are you going to wait for the government to, in yet some other fashion, tell you it's okay, you can go ahead and exercise your God-given liberties?
Apparently, Whitmer said in a press conference that her last EO still lasts another 21 days.
When did she say that?
I think that was just within the last hour.
I would expect just as much that Whitmer is going to keep claiming she has the right to do what she wants. How on earth? I don't even want to know. I can't stomach it. If you want to listen to the lies, if you want to listen to Gretchen Whitmer tell you that you don't have the right to exercise your constitutionally protected, God-given liberties, then go for it. But quite frankly, I'm not going to wait to exercise my constitutionally protected, God-given liberties. And in fact, the Michigan Supreme Court has said you don't have to. So, do you have to wear a mask in public? Nope. Do you have to be socially distant in public? Nope. If you are a movie theater, do you have to wait until next Friday to open? Nope. If you are a business owner or a manager, can you mandate that people wear masks and be socially distant? Otherwise, you are going to refuse them service. Nope. Does that answer all the questions yet? Michael, you're supposed to be watching the questions.
So, yeah.
He's not helping me very much, guys. So I see the question about when are we free? Well, we made that declaration, I want to say somewhere around July 4th, 1776. Is that accurate, Michael? Not being a smart aleck, that is the truth. That declaration was made then. We have been free people since God created each of us. And we specifically reserved and protected our rights to be undiminished, unabrogated in both our U.S. constitutions and our Michigan constitutions. So when are we free? You're free whenever you choose to start exercising your God-given liberties. If you want to live in fear or if you want to wait for government permission, then you'll be waiting a very long time and you probably will never be free. It will take courage, absolutely, but you're not alone, so don't wait. How does this ruling apply to us? Ruth, I'm assuming that you asked me that a very long time ago before I gave all that information. So same thing about the question on masks. So to what extent are they able to mandate restrictions through the health departments? And here's the reason why. I've been trying to tell people that you need to make sure to help us fight all this crap once and for all with the Restore Freedom Initiative constitutional amendment petition. The 1945 repeal is fine and great and all, and it serves to get rid of the 1945 law, which as of today has been officially declared unconstitutional anyway. The Restore Freedom Initiative petition gets rid of the 1945 law, gets rid of the 1976 law. In fact, it gets rid of all the provisions of the public health code that serve to abrogate or diminish any of our God-given liberties. So yeah, the public health code right now, there's several parts. In fact, I posted a letter that came from one of the, I don't remember if it was a school district or a health department, where they were saying, hey, by the way, you have to self-quarantine, and you and your children, and if you don't, we're going to enforce this upon you, and it's awful. All because someone might have had COVID-19 who came in contact with you. So anyway, to the extent that there is a law on the books that says that they are allowed to mandate certain restrictions, they're allowed to mandate that we can't assemble for any reason whatsoever, that we can't can't go to church, or can't go to birthday parties or funerals or anything of that nature. We can't peaceably assemble for any reason whatsoever. That's blatantly unconstitutional. But yes, there are statutes on the books that allow for that. Those were not dealt with by the order of the court today. Okay, Travis is just here to troll. That's very honest. You know what, you guys that are being really impatient with me, you do realize I'm doing this for free, right? You do realize that I do every single piece of this. I research every single aspect. If you're going to say something, you come say something. Okay. So if you want a short Cliff Notes version of something, you are more than welcome to go to the mainstream media, or to, as my husband pointed out, you can Google the answer if you'd like. I'm doing all of this for free, number one. Number two, I'm trying to make sure that I'm educating every single person possible on what the Constitution says, on what the court is doing, and everything in between. Number three, if you really want to know about your rights and want to exercise your rights, then you need to not only have the patience, but you need to have the understanding of the whole concept altogether. This gimme, gimme, gimme now, I don't want to wait anymore, is not going to fly. I'm doing this on my own accord to make sure that the rest of the Michigan residents that I'm living in this great state with can understand their rights and not have to live as servants to this dictator or master, Gretchen Whitmer, anymore. But it's not going to work well if people are going to just keep being selfish and demand things on their own time and in their own way without putting in the effort or the time on their own. If you want things done more quickly, you are more than welcome to do that on your own. Otherwise, please be courteous. Please be kind. I am trying to make sure that I am doing a darn good job to be truthful, to be honest, to give you the entire answer, because there is no Cliff Notes version. If there was a Cliff Notes version, don't you think the court could have answered that a long time ago? If it was just a yes or no and that's it, they would have done it. But quite frankly, they had to go through the whole rigmarole. And yet I've been here answering questions for you guys ever since April, since the beginning of April. So I would ask you to reconsider next time that any of you, because I've seen quite a few of the comments now about, well, you need to answer this and you need to get to this. And we've been patiently waiting for this. That's great. Then you can be patiently waiting. I'm doing my best and this is for free. So I'm asking you to please be considerate of the rest of the people that are watching. A lot of them could not hear from the very beginning. They were not able to hear or not able to see or had the issues with it freezing. Maybe they were in work and they didn't even jump on until the very end. And I want to make sure that everybody understands where we're at with things. The same with every video. And if you watch me, you know my videos are generally not short. They're not. So if you want to wait to the end and have the Cliff Notes version by looking at the comments and seeing what people have done to summarize, please feel free to do that. What question or comment did you want me to address, Mike?
All these things that say it's still in effect for 21 days, it sounds like to me it's just Whitmer's words. If it's not in the order, then there's no 21 days.
Okay, I see that Ruth is answering or asking again, how does this ruling apply to us? I can't tell what time that was asked. So I'm assuming I did already answer that for Ruth. Carrie is, again, Kerry, not a write-in candidate. Carrie will be on your ballot. Carrie Lee Morgan will be on your ballot for Michigan Supreme Court Justice. And Lori, I'm going to... I deleted the comment because you had Carrie and Schwartzel. It's Carrie Lee Morgan and then Brock Schwartzel. So you had the first name of one and the last name of another, and I just don't want to confuse anybody. So in case you're wondering why I deleted your comment. Yes, I will do a post that has their names on my page. Employees having to wear masks, consumers wearing, kids wearing them in schools. I'm hoping that I wish this told me a time frame, like it typically shows up on Facebook. So I already addressed, the general wearing them in public, consumers having to wear them in stores, employees having to wear them. All these policies were in fact based on these executive orders and mandates of the government. And so, yes, you might work for a private organization, a private business, but to the extent that the business is simply issuing these policies based upon these government mandates, such as in an executive order, they are acting as an arm of the government and therefore have the same exact restrictions upon them that any government agency would have. So they can't order that. Yeah, you can have a public mask burning. Absolutely. Husband. Yeah, husbands. Are you seeing the comments about you, dude? Are you helping me? Hey, dude, are you going through these comments? Can you help me? I'm not wearing masks in stores. No, just to be clear, because I see that Lori Hamilton has asked about this. She says, so the strike down doesn't go into effect for 21 days. Whitmer says the orders are still law for 21 more days. Her orders were never law, never. They were always unconstitutional. And what the Michigan Supreme Court today said was that she didn't have the authority under the statute. She didn't have the authority under the other statute because that whole statute is unconstitutional. There's no 21 days that she has to just exercise the power there. Yeah, she doesn't get to continue violating the Constitution for an extra 21 days just because. So, no, I don't care what crap you turn the TV off. Just turn the TV off, because I guarantee you none of those stations are going to be talking about this. In fact, shoot, this is Friday, isn't it? Is this Friday? Dang it. Oh, I'll have to call some of my radio friends. I don't think they're going to be on until Monday now, but I'll do my best to try to make sure I'm getting the message out across the radio stations all across the state. It might have to be Monday. Nowhere in our Constitution does it say if 1% of our Constitution, 1% of our population gets sick, none of this counts. Right, exactly. Even if it said 50% of the people might get sick, the Constitution doesn't say, well, okay, so as long as 50% of the people are getting sick, then none of the rights actually matter. No, there's no exception to our rights. Oh, whoa. Shoot. Thank you, Mike. Whatevs. People, come on. Okay, it's scrolled though, Mike. I need your help finding. Did it? Okay, guys, sorry. We were both trying to look through the questions to make sure we're good, and holy cow. Oh my gosh. I'm not sure what happened here. You know what? I do know that Mary Kelly is one of the people on the Patriot list that Kevin Skinner put out last week. I don't know what to tell you. I've been talking to the attorney that made the call on recommending her. I'm going to get a call back. In fact, she might have been calling me while I was doing this video. I don't know. She and I had a longer conversation about it today, and I'm hoping to get her to see what I was saying. In the end, if she chooses to still recommend Mary Kelly, I guess it's your choice, but hers is basically a concern that I don't that the main thing is that with Mary Kelly being one of the Republican candidates, she'll have the backing and support of the entire Republican Party, and so will be more likely to succeed at the polls on election day with backing that candidate. To me, this is a better time more than any to be able to back a candidate who's not part of necessarily one party or the other. And in fact, in a judicial race where there's no R or D or anything behind your name, because it's a nonpartisan election, to me, this is the race that you want to pick the person who's truly going to advocate for your rights. But I'm wholeheartedly picking Carrie Lee Morgan over Mary Kelly. No, this can't be appealed to federal court. I mean, yes and no. The thing is, this was answering a question. This is the federal district court that was asking the state Supreme Court to settle the issues of state law. So those issues of state law are settled and done. The only issue could be regarding the constitutionality of the state statutes when it comes to the US Constitution, but the federal district court and no federal court is going to be able to address whether a state statute violates the state constitution. That's not in their wheelhouse. If they want to be able to say a state statute violates the United States Constitution, they can. So to that extent, those pieces are not going to be appealable. No. Okay, just to the comment that everyone should get $50,000, and I know you ended it with LOL. If it's coming out of Whitmer's own pocket, I would agree with you. But if it's coming out of our government funds or our tax coffers, if you will, no, because I don't want to pay for that. Just my response to that. Again, no appeal. Not on these particular issues, not in the way that these issues were presented to the court. I just want, here's one thing I guess I want to say, that if you guys are thinking, I mean, you can take it or leave it. Whatever I say, you can believe me, you cannot believe me, but I'm the one person that's been telling you, well, quite frankly, anything all this time. But I'm also the one person that's been telling you that she had absolutely, I've been telling people from April 30th, there is absolutely no way that she has, under the EMA, to continue with these executive orders anymore. I've also said that the EPGA, and I've also said the EMA, but the EPGA, the 1945 law, violates the state constitution. I've been telling people that from day one. But I've also said even the timing of things. I told you within a matter of days when these different decisions would be coming out. And in fact, I told people that I expected that we would see a decision from the court within roughly 2 weeks. That's what I thought. There was no guarantee, but I thought maybe by the end of September. And quite frankly, this is the 2nd of October. I'm pretty darn spot on when it comes to that. So I hope that you guys can see all these pieces coming into play on this. Okay, I see a lot of comments and questions still about the same, the 21 days and appeals, and I've answered those. Oh my gosh, I'm nowhere near. Can you, where are you? What do you, Mike, I need you to help me with these questions. Mike, please. Hey, Mike.
I was just looking at the questions.
No, can you scroll all the way to the bottom? I'm nowhere near the bottom on this, and I want to make sure I answer questions. What's that? Okay, then can you scroll up? Can you go backwards and tell me if I'm missing any? Mandatory COVID testing to keep your job, not acceptable. Mandatory mask policies to keep your job, not acceptable. Mandatory microchipping to do contact tracing, not acceptable. None of those things are allowed. Our Constitution does not allow for our God-given liberties to be stomped all over for any of that. Okay, guys, I am just double checking. Okay, so if you want a copy of today's Supreme Court ruling, that was actually, the link to that is actually in the description of this video. It's also in the description of the Facebook Live video, the first 2 versions I tried to do. It's also on my website. If you don't see the links, you can just go straight to Henry. No, sorry, that's my old website. You can go to restorefreedomkh.com and click the resources tab and then go to documents and you'll see it right there. Okay, so how does it get publicized? Share the crap out of it. Tell everyone you know. In fact, I will send you a screenshot. I will post a screenshot on my Restore Freedom with Catherine Henry Facebook page that has the piece of that of the court opinion, the court order that says that it's illegal and unconstitutional. So I will share just that piece, just so you at least have a JPEG to share. At first, I thought you said, Brooke, that I am the best. And I was like, awesome. And then I see that you said, and I mean that in the most loving and freedom living way. so, so I see that you actually called me a beast, but I will take it as a compliment. Okay. Yes, to AEDU, you are correct on that. He is reading from our Declaration of Independence. If you have pushed back, share this video, repeat what you said. People are still jumping on. Okay, guys, I am just checking to see if I have any more. Now, in general, I will say, because somebody commented on there that the Supreme Court functions as a last court, a last resort tribunal. Its rulings cannot be appealed. It also decides in cases dealing with interpretation of the Constitution. It's not true that its rulings cannot be appealed, because there are provisions of federal law or federal statute or other elements in there that you can certainly appeal from a state Supreme Court to the United States Supreme Court. And then the United States Supreme Court could definitely take on that case. And somebody's calling me. Could take on that case and essentially issue, a ruling that the state Supreme Court got it wrong. They've done that many, many times throughout the years. But in this particular case, that's not going to happen, because it was a very specific set of questions they were addressing, and it was only about whether she followed state law. By itself would be a question for the state Supreme Court, and whether a state law violated the state constitution, which again would be a state court issue, not a federal court issue. So I think okay, guys, there are so many comments. I'm trying to do my best to go through and make sure. You really do need to take a second to read her statement. Oh, whatever the governor says, I really don't care, because it's not the law. The governor can say whatever she wants. She can say we all need to pay her $1 million because she's fabulous. She could say that she has the right to build a electric fence around her governor's mansion. Oh, wait, she is doing that. She doesn't have the right to do those things. So she could say whatever she wants. She doesn't have the right to say whatever she wants. She's just doing it anyway. It just takes us as people not following those executive orders, not following her statements, and totally disregarding basically anything she has to say from now on. Let's see. Um, wow, really? Click on Detroit. Is that, well, it's one of the Detroit papers. Basically, we just, okay, Mike, you didn't tell me this one. Can you please go back to the comments and help me really read these? Someone is saying that Jack O'Malley was quick to tell everyone the legislature is going to write some of her executive orders into law. He said that today. So he's not exactly what I consider on the good side. No, he's not. And no, they are not. So what you need to do is absolutely make sure you make your voice heard. Call your state rep, call them 15 times, send them text messages and emails, go down to the state capitol on Tuesday. Do not let the legislature try to make any of these executive orders into laws. What are they thinking?
If the legislature's doing that, what does Unlock Michigan, everybody that signed the Unlock Michigan petition, think about that?
If you signed the Unlock Michigan petition thinking that the legislature was going to be on our side to repeal the 1945 law, what I would like you to do, first of all, is make sure you've also signed the Restore Freedom Initiative petition, because it's still relevant and we still need to get the signatures, because this is going to fix all of this garbage. But also, I would ask you to make sure to reach out to those very state reps and senators that you thought were going to vote in favor of repealing the 1945 law and ask them to make sure that they don't try to put into law any of these executive orders because they weren't constitutional when the governor did them. They're certainly not going to be constitutional by them doing them. Please don't sit on your butt. Please make sure you reach out to them. Let everyone know to reach out to these legislators. Absolutely. I can't believe the media would lie.
Why would Roger Victory say? Senator Roger Victory says that although the executive orders were declared unconstitutional, the legislature's legal team still has yet to determine the impact this will have on the EOs. Are you kidding me?
Was that him or was that a comment somebody quoted?
So I'd have to look and verify that.
No, you do not have to follow mask orders. You do not have to follow a single executive order, period. Do not follow any executive orders. All executive orders here in Michigan that try to regulate the people are unconstitutional right from the first word. And the Michigan Supreme Court has declared that all of these 2020 executive orders about COVID-19 are not constitutional. They don't follow the law, and they are not enforceable. What, Mike?
That's exactly what's on Roger Victory's Facebook page. That he thinks the legislature needs to review it.
Can you send it to me in a text somehow, please, so I can do something with that?
Not even just the legislature, the legal team.
Can you please send it to my Facebook page or my text message so I could do something about it? I don't care what the legal team over at the legislature says. If you guys can't figure out how to read the Constitution, which you've been struggling with all this time, then you just need to pack up and go home, because you don't know how to read the law. You don't know how to read the Constitution, and you don't deserve your law degree. So you better hand that back. I don't know how you ever passed the bar exam, but you're a disgrace. The entire legislative legal team is a disgrace at this point. I'm disgusted with every single one of you. And I'm disgusted with every single one of you state reps and state senators who think you're either A, you're going to codify or put into state law any of the governor's executive orders at this point, or B, that you're not quite sure when the Supreme Court says that everything she's been doing here is unconstitutional or it's illegal, that you're not sure what that really means for the executive orders. That's just either evil or stupid or lazy. There's no excuse for it. Don't tell your constituents that they have to follow any of that garbage. Okay, again, I don't see time frame of when these are coming in. And someone suggested that I start from the more recent and go backwards, but then because I can't see timestamps, that means that I'm not going to see any of the new ones that come in after that. Because I can't go reference and go, oh, I made it all the way back to the beginning and then figure out exactly where I was and then be able to answer any questions that have come up since then. So that's why I don't do it that way. Apparently, the governor said, furthermore, after 21 days, many of the responsive measures I have put in place to control the spread of the virus will continue under alternative sources of authority that were not at issue in today's ruling. Well, that would be because I've been trying to tell everyone she's not just relying on the 1945 law or the 1976 law, but all these other crappy things in effect, like our public health code. I've been trying to tell people since April, please fight against everything here, not just one little piece because it seems easy. Do the whole thing, fix the whole thing. The public health code is a big problem here. We need to get rid of I would say 90% of the public health code, because all it serves to do is take away our rights. There's so many pieces in there that it's overly complicated and complex. We have pieces of public health law that are in chapter 325 and pieces that are in chapter 333. And I want to say there's another chapter. There shouldn't be so many stinking chapters all to regulate the people. Oh, and don't forget we have parts of the criminal code that regulate things related to public health as well. None of those are what was covered by the Article 4, Section 51 provision that allows for public health laws to be put in place. The right corner of comments on my end has the time. No, I mean, maybe it does for you. I'm not seeing that on here. I saw that on Facebook, but I don't see that on these. I wish I did. Her executive orders were never law and have no power. Exactly, Mark. That is correct. Unfortunately, Wisconsin's mandate court order didn't quite. Crap. Here, the problem here that I'm having now is it just skipped again to some random point in these comments. It's now scrolling on its own. So I honestly have no idea if I missed your question. I was doing everything I possibly could to make sure that I was addressing each and every question that you guys have, because I think I'm perfectly clear, but then sometimes people miss out on something, or maybe they need to hear it in a different way or in a couple of times. And so I wanted to make sure that I was truly answering all of your questions, but I have no way to get back. Yes, please do go to Roger Victory's Facebook page and flood it with comments. That is ridiculous that he would say he doesn't understand. The legal team needs to work out what this means for the executive orders. Not okay. Also go to Jack O'Malley's Facebook page and flood that baby with comments, because there is no way they should ever try to put into law these executive orders. Absolutely not. The executive orders issued by the governor in response to the COVID-19 pandemic now lack any basis under Michigan law. The justice did not say you have 21 days. Exactly. That was pointed out by somebody else, that Justice MARKMAN said that in his decision today. Yes, I do have a donate button for people that would like to continue to fund this work, so I can continue to do all the briefs with the Michigan Supreme Court, do oral argument with the Michigan Supreme Court, be able to stay up to date and print all this stuff out and give you the updates and travel across the state to do different events. I would love to be able to continue to do this, but of course I'm doing this all out of my own pocket. So it's through donations from people like you that are funding this very work. So I definitely appreciate any and all donations that come in. And you can go to restorefreedomkh.com and there's a shop or donate tab. You can either shop or donate. If you shop, it's not going to help us. It doesn't give us any additional funds. Those are all items that are available right at cost to you, just to get the word out there and help spread the word about Restore Freedom and what we're doing here. But also the donate button, it'll explain the different ways that you can donate. Freedom Angels are fighting the public health codes until we get the new amendment in place. I'm not sure what that means, if that means other people or if you're calling our group Freedom Angels. If the legislation makes some of these laws, can we then file in federal court? There's a lot of things coming, and let me tell you, we'll come up with a write-in candidate for every single office if we need to, if these state reps think that they're going to put any of these into place as law. Yeah, oh my gosh. Toggle timestamps. Toggle, oh, because I couldn't even see. Oh, well, that shrunk everything. Okay, now that, did it do it for you too?
Yeah, it's smaller, but
Are you logged into my account or your account?
this is mine.
Okay. Okay, so how will the Supreme Court's opinion be enforced? Well, it's going to take everyone doing their part. It's going to take the part of you going into a store without a mask and saying, did you know that these executive orders were declared unconstitutional? It's going to take you going into your doctor's office or your dentist or whatever. It's going to take you, if you're the business owner, making sure that you don't have any reference to these executive orders anywhere in your business whatsoever. It's going to take you going and supporting all those businesses that are already open and already doing the right thing and not paying attention to these unconstitutional and illegal executive orders. It's going to take you kindly educating our legislators, our law enforcement officers, and everyone in between, because these are not constitutional, they're not legal, and we need to make sure that everybody's on the same page. And yes, if a police officer or a prosecutor or a local city official or anyone thinks that they are going to try to enforce these already declared to be unconstitutional and illegal executive orders, then they are definitely on the road to an easy case against them for malicious prosecution, abuse of process, and a variety of other things that are coming their way, especially an 18 U.S.C. Section 241 claim, where that's a criminal case against them. It's a felony to violate people's rights. Or how about a 42 U.S.C. Section 1983 claim? I think there is a ton of people that will be lining up to beat down the doors of the courthouse to file against any law enforcement officer or prosecutor or city or state official who thinks that they're going to try to still enforce these executive orders. But what the Supreme Court says is an opinion. It's not law. The only thing it really does is clarify for people that were banking on that and holding their breath for that, that in fact, what has been said all along is the case. So don't be worried about that. But it is not law. The Supreme Court does not make law. They are never allowed to make law. No judge can ever make a law. Yes, so I am, thank you to my people who are joining me here. I did figure out how to see the timestamps now, so at least that can help us here. Freedom is a group in Instagram. They're holding health departments accountable and have a group all over that are working together. Take a look and link with them. That means I'd have to create Instagram. I hate social media. I will consider it, but I don't know that I have the time or the wherewithal to be a part of yet another social media account. Okay, so let me see. Did I get to the bottom? So, okay, I did get to the bottom. I did get to the bottom and answered all the questions. I hope that you were able to get a basic understanding. Again, recap just the few sentences. The most important sentences of this order are that the governor did not have authority after April 30th, 2020 to issue or renew any executive orders related to COVID-19 under the 1976 Emergency Management Act. And the governor did not possess authority to exercise any emergency powers under the EPGA 1945 law because the act unlawfully delegates a legislative power to the executive branch in violation of the Michigan Constitution. And in fact, the EPGA was unconstitutional in its entirety. So those are the main parts about that today. Again, make sure that you're paying attention to when we look at national news when it comes to United States Supreme Court, Article 2, Section 2, that the president has the power and shall nominate and appoint replacements for the United States Supreme Court. There is no ands, ifs, or buts about that. I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, Green Party, Tea Party, if you voted for the president, if you didn't vote for the president, if you're a United States citizen, he is your president. He is still the president of the United States, as he was in September when she died, as he is now in October, and he will be in November and December, even if he loses on election day. So please keep that in mind. And it is his job, it is his duty under the Constitution to nominate and appoint a replacement for Ginsburg. So please keep that in mind. And again, if anybody is looking for that reference, it is Article 2, Section 2 of our United States Constitution. Again, the main part of our Constitution, state Constitution, that was at issue in today's ruling by the Michigan Supreme Court was Article 3, Section 2 of our state Constitution. That is the separation of powers and the non-delegation clause. So I'm glad to have you all on board. I'm glad to be able to answer questions for you guys. I'm just double checking because I saw some more questions come in. Schools. I did talk about that. What I said is that our legislature has been sneaking in some really ridiculous laws. They've been drafting bills all along that try to violate our rights, and they've gotten the governor to sign on to a few of them so far. I have not read all of them. I am concerned about some of them. Some of them are definitely not constitutional, but again, that's going to be a whole nother battle. So to the extent that any of those parts are put into state law already, it's going to be a whole nother fight. I would say you don't have to fight it, or you don't have to follow it at all. But how do you get to exercise your rights when the schools are enforcing this and requiring you or precluding you from joining into in-person education if you don't have a mask and those kinds of things? So you have a constitutional right, constitutionally protected, God-given right to be able to go where you want to and have your child go where you want to without wearing a mask, period. Whether it's school or not school, it doesn't matter. You have a right to do that. Look at the 9th Amendment of our U.S. Constitution or Article 1, Section 23 of our state Constitution, because those are the unenumerated rights clauses that say that even if we don't have a right specifically enumerated or discussed somewhere else in the Constitution, we still have a bunch of God-given rights that we didn't have to put in there, but the government still has to protect. So to that extent, keep that in mind. As far as nursing homes, again, it was never legal. It was never constitutional to shut those down or to keep families out or to keep service providers out or to bring in a bunch of COVID-19 positive patients into an environment where there are known immunocompromised individuals. That makes no sense whatsoever. So if I were you, I'd get your family member out of there. If you are encountering that you have a nursing home that still thinks the governor's orders are laws, though, what do you do about that? Well, you can file a lawsuit, absolutely, but that takes time. Does your family member have time to do that? If I were you, I would try to locate a nursing home or other facility where that is not, that's not an issue, where they are respecting of the basic human rights that God gave us. Hopefully I answered all of that. Gosh, Jack O'Malley just needs to shut up and go home.
He is saying that Whitmer he's basically saying she can pound sand with the 21 days too.
Does she what?
He's basically saying that she can pound sand with the 21 days too. In his latest post, it was 56 minutes ago.
Oh, maybe someone told him that I'm ripping on them in this video.
Yeah, he says the governor has had it wrong since mid-April. We have tried to work with her. She is the one who stonewalled and turned this into a fight. Maybe we did extend her powers to the consternation of many, but we wanted to show we could work together. She is the one who decided she didn't need anyone else. The court has ruled she is wrong.
Okay, so it looks like I have caught up now on all comments and questions. Again, thank you very much. I appreciate every single one of you. I mean, to have 442 of you spend your evening with me up to, at one point we were well over 500. I really appreciate you guys being on board, paying attention, listening, trying to learn about our state constitution, trying to keep involved and keep knowledgeable about what's happening in our state Supreme Court and what's happening in our legislature. We have to keep an eye on all of them. None of this is going to be fixed if the people just sit back and let the government keep doing what they're doing. Basically, the Restore Freedom Initiative constitutional amendment petition is the thing you need to get behind because, number one, it doesn't just fix one little teeny tiny law that's the problem. It attacks all the laws that are the problems that violate our God-given human basic rights. Number two, it doesn't just pinpoint that the governor or the legislature or any particular person or office is acting outside of the scope of its authority, because look around, our legislature has gone far outside of the scope of their authority. The governor obviously has stepped outside of the scope of her authority. The attorney general, the secretary of state, the justices and the judges that have been involved to date on this case, even just in the state of Michigan, every single branch of government in every single level of government, state, local, everywhere, we have seen all these people acting outside of the scope of their governmental authority and trying to impose things like mask mandates and social distancing and all kinds of, shutting down state and local government offices when Article 4, Section 39 of our state constitution specifically requires that state and local government operations must continue in a time of emergency. So at any rate, keep that in mind. It's we the people have to stick together. We the people have to band together, stand up, hold these people accountable, call them, email them, blow them up on Facebook and Snapchat and Instagram, whatever they have. If they have any kind of social media account, make sure that you are showing them screenshots of this screenshots of this court decision, that you are reminding them of different provisions of our state and federal constitutions, that you are letting the legislature know that they cannot possibly think that it is in our best interest to codify or put into law any of her executive orders. Not a single one of these things should be put into state law. And any of them that think that it's a smart thing to do, or that think that we need to wait for their legal counsel to sort it all out, again, what are they doing? They're not doing their job. If they can't figure out how to read the Constitution in the first place, they need to get out of that position. They have no right to be there if they cannot possibly read the United States or Michigan constitutions. So don't let them tell you otherwise. Don't let them tell you that you don't know how to read the Constitution. Don't let them tell you that you're not an attorney and they are not an attorney and they need to wait for the attorneys to sort it all out. They've been telling us all along that we need to wait for the courts to sort it out. Well, the court has sorted it out. The court sorted it out today, and they made it very clear these executive orders are no more. And quite frankly, to the extent they relied on the unconstitutional provisions, they never were in existence legally. So do not allow anyone to tell you these executive orders are still in play. They're not. You don't have to wait 21 days. You don't have to wait 30 days. You don't have to wait 5 minutes. If you own a movie theater, you tell me, you call me up, and I'm going to go drive to your movie theater and have popcorn right now. well, I don't want a cartoon. So if it's anything other than a cartoon, or, just horribly violent movie, I don't need to see that either. There's enough violence in the world these days. But if it's funny, if it's an action flick, if it's even a drama, if even it's a romantic comedy, my husband will gladly take me to the movie theater, and we're going to fill up on popcorn tonight in your movie theater, because you have the right to do that as a business owner. So you let me know. And if you want your business advertised as one that is open right now or tomorrow or Monday or whenever your business would ordinarily be open, please send me a little blurb. Don't make it a big thing. Just send me a little blurb. Have the name and address of the business. Give me some point of contact if I have any kind of follow-up questions for you. But send it to our Facebook page at Restore Freedom KH. Go to our Facebook page. Let us know. Go to our website if you don't do Facebook. Go to our website at Restore Freedom. It's restorefreedomkh.com. Go to the Contact Us page and let me know if your business is ready to be open without any regard for any of these stupid, illegal, unconstitutional executive orders. You let me know, and we're going to put your business on our website and on our Facebook page, and we are going to get customers there, because I have thousands and thousands of people that ask me all the time where to go for a haircut, where to go to see a movie, where to go to a restaurant, where to go to get groceries, where to go to get gas, where they're not going to be harassed. So if you own any kind of business and you want to sing it from the rooftops that you are not following these unconstitutional or illegal executive orders, nor will you if she tries to reissue these, you let me know and I'll publicize it. I have not publicized anything because so far the businesses have not wanted, that I'm aware of, they have not wanted the attention drawn to them. But if you want the attention and you want people to come and support you, and you want me to be able to connect you as a business owner to all the thousands of consumers that are all around Michigan, millions that are waiting to be able to spend their money at a place like yours, you please let me know. And I would be glad to do that. You give me the business hours, the business location, the kind of business that it is, if it's a restaurant, if it's a clothing store, if it's a gas station, if it's a movie theater, you let me know, and we are going to get you the business that you deserve for standing up for our rights. So please let us know. Gyms should be open, everything. Let me be exceedingly clear, guys. Not a single executive order is in place. Not a single one. Turn the TV off, because they got it wrong. No matter what you're hearing, they've got it wrong. Not a single business has to be closed. Not a single business has a COVID-19 governor-imposed restriction, period. You can go about your business as normal. I would just ask that if you are advertising to me that you want your business advertised on our website and on our social media, please make sure that you are the business owner or manager, because if you are not, I do not want to share that information in case that business owner is not wanting their information to be publicized. So it's one thing to be open and respecting of people's rights, but it's another thing to be open to get all kinds of media attention and things like that. So I can understand that. So please, if you are reaching out to me to share your business information, please make sure to let me know whether you are the owner or whether you are the manager, and that you have authority to basically allow for advertisement of that business. If you don't and you're just a supporter, then don't contact me with that information. Contact that business and ask them to contact me, and so I can share whatever information they would like me to share about their business. I want to make sure I'm only hearing from the business owner. Again, I don't have enough resources. I'm not getting paid to do this. So I don't have the resources to go follow up with all these businesses myself. So if you are not the business owner or business manager with the authority to do any kind of advertising on their behalf, then please don't give me their information. Go ahead and contact and encourage the business owner or manager themselves to reach out to me so that I can advertise for them. Absolutely. Sorry, I'm getting rid of one of our trolls here. Okay. Would I be willing to send Jack O'Malley an email? Well, he's not going to read it. If Jack wants to call me, I'll be glad to talk to him. I could do a Facebook Live video because we know that he sees those and comments about my Facebook Live videos. So, I mean, whatever way it actually could get to him, but quite frankly, if I send him an email, it's not going to work. I can try to put together an email for the legislature. I don't know when I'm going to have time to do that. So I will definitely try to work on that though. And try to get it in front of all of our legislature. Absolutely. If I do that, I will post on Facebook and on our website that email or whatever I'm going to do so that you can make sure you are sharing it with your legislators and making sure that they are reading it and getting it in front of them. Jill, I've explained the 21 days Whitmer put on MLive. She's full of crap. She doesn't have the right to do that. She has to prove that she has the legal authority to be able to exercise any kind of power, especially over us, and she doesn't have that. And the Supreme Court already said that, and yet she doesn't know how to listen. That's in a nutshell what we could say about her 21-day statement. Well, if they're afraid of me, then that means it's because they're afraid of the truth. I'm going to call it the truth. I don't care if you're part of the same political party that I am or not. If you're not standing for the truth, if you're not standing for the Constitution, and if you're not standing for defending our God-given liberties, then yeah, you should probably be afraid of me because I'm going to come after you and it's going to be like none other, a hurt that you have never known politically. I will come after you. And if you think that I'm not serious or that I haven't done very much, guess what? It's because I haven't even gotten started. I've been putting out the biggest fires first, not individual ones. So if you are watching this and you're a state rep or a senator or a judge or a justice or anybody in government, and you think that you have the right to run rickshod all over our God-given, constitutionally protected liberties, yeah, you better be afraid of me because I'm coming for you and you're not going to have a career in government for very long. And no, it's not just little old me, Catherine, who doesn't mean anything. I have thousands of people, if not millions of people, even just in this state, if we ignore all the other people across the other states and quite frankly, in other countries across the globe that are watching us and supporting us, there's a lot of people in Michigan that are ticked off that you are playing with our rights, that you think that you are government. And so you're just in a position of authority over us. No, you work for us. I don't care what branch of government you are in. If you're at state or local or federal government, you work for us. You work for we, the people, and we are going to hold you accountable. So yeah, you better be afraid of us. And if you want to blame it all on me, I'll be the mouthpiece. You can be afraid of me because I'm not going anywhere. I will come after each and every one of you with whatever legal tools that I have. And if it takes me the next 25 years, then I will still get it done. I have not even gotten started, though, in holding any of you accountable. So if you're irritated by me now, then you should probably be much more afraid of me then. What's funny, Mike?
I'll show you later.
Dude, you're not on this.
No, I'm doing stuff.
Yeah, you should be on this. Okay. All right. So again, thank you guys. I will continue to let you know as we have updates. I'm not sure if I will go back onto Facebook Live or if I'm going to go back here onto YouTube Live. Either way, the videos do end up on YouTube. So if you can't see me and I'm doing a Facebook Live, do realize that you can come back and watch the video later on YouTube. It just won't be done live. And I will do my best to follow up on comments. But quite frankly, when we have hundreds and hundreds of comments, let's be honest, I'm not going to be able to see all of them. And I may not get to it, but I will do my best. So please make sure to scroll through and see what other people are asking, and it will likely have been something that I have already addressed. So, all right, guys. Have a wonderful night. And yes, I will keep fighting for you and for we, the people. Have a great night, everyone.